Hi everybody, Dan Illman here taking a look at race number 11 at Horseshoe Indianapolis on Saturday. It's the co-feature of the evening, the Grade 3 $200,000 Indiana Oaks. Let's take a look at this field of 3-year-old fillies getting set to travel a mile and a 16th. DRF is reporting that the number 1 Candy Raid will withdraw from this race and run at Prairie Meadows in the Iowa Oaks. So as we take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector, I do want to remind everybody to visit timeformus.com. Once scratches are made official, this pace projector will automatically update with Candy Raid out. As for the early speed in the Indiana Oaks, the 3 Patna, very lightly raced, well-bred filly trained by Brad Cox. She should show some speed. I could even see Silver Leaf, the number 4, being a bit closer to the pace, but the key horse, the big favorite, the deserving heavy favorite, the 5 Interstate Daydream, well, she's going to be close as well. And being trained by Brad Cox, as well as the 3 Patna, I wouldn't be surprised if Interstate Daydream is allowed to control things from the start. With Candy Raid out, we'll begin our analysis with the 2 Napa Candy, a sprint winner 3 starts back against maidens, but 2 starts against winners haven't been overly strong. She was big prices in both of those allowance races at Churchill Downs. She really didn't fire in any one of them. Now they're going to stretch her out around 2 turns. This is an underrated, competent barn that knows what they're doing. Napa Candy may try to show a little bit of speed breaking from the inside post, but her 2 races against winners have just been uninspiring, and she's facing a tough group here. Patna's the number 3, Into Mischief filly, Juddmonte homebred, trained by Brad Cox, and has looked good in her last 2 races. A win at Keeneland when she went gate to wire, albeit over a track that had 5 races run on the main track that day, and all 5 were won by horses on or within a length of the early lead. Maybe she was aided by a track bias, and last time out at Churchill Downs she won an off-turf race. She won it very easily. She seems to be improving with each and every start. She's going to be close to the pace in here. She's going to need to improve from a buyer's standpoint. That's certainly not out of the question. I'm curious to see what we get from Patna as she's tested for class for the first time. Silver Leaf won her maiden last time out for Kenny McPeak, going a mile and a 16th at Churchill Downs. She utilized her good tactical speed to get right up close to the pace in that race, and when it was time to go, she went. She won by 9 under Brian Hernandez Jr. The buyer's speed figure a little bit light, 69, but I think that she can take a step forward in here, again utilizing that tactical speed. She's 10-1 on the morning line, a filly coming off of a big win who's been on the board in her last 4 starts. I just wonder if it's taken several races for her to figure out the game, and I think now that she's gotten that maiden win under her girth, she could be going the right way. But Interstate Daydream is way the horse to beat. She began her career last year at Belmont with a win. She was a really strong second in the Adirondack, trying to overcome a speed-favoring track, rallying from next to last, and finishing second to Wicked Halo, who was much closer to the pace. She missed a lot of time after that race, but her seasonal debut at Oaklawn was just a thing of beauty. Stretching out around 2 turns off a lengthy layoff is never easy. Interstate Daydream made it look very easy. She won nicely. She came back in the Ashland for her first start against stakes competition. She ran into Nest. We all know how good Nest is. Second in the Kentucky Oaks, second in the Belmont Stakes. And Interstate Daydream then just found a really nice spot in the Black-Eyed Susan. Stretching out to a mile and an 1/8, she got up close to this solid pace. She was always traveling comfortably under Florent Giroux, and once she takes the lead, she's always going to hold off favorite Adari Manor to the wire. Interstate Daydream was getting a little bit tired in that mile and an 1/8 race, but she earned a 91 buyer's speed figure, a figure that if she repeats or even regresses slightly off of, she's going to be very, very difficult to beat in the Indiana Oaks, and turning back to a mile and a 16th could be a boon indeed. She'll likely be right in the thick of things when they turn for home. North County, the number 6, is going to get Lasix for the first time since a maiden win going 7.5 at Horseshoe Indianapolis, albeit on turf. She's equally as good on dirt as she showed in the untappable 3 starts back at the fairgrounds, her final start as a 2-year-old. Now, she's raced twice this year, and maybe you can give her a little bit of an excuse. The Rachel Alexandra 2 starts back was a very tough spot at the fairgrounds, and while she didn't fire that day, maybe she just needed one. She then ran in the Bourbonnette Oaks last time out, and that race was over poly track. She ran on a little bit at the end. I think she's better on dirt and turf than she is on synthetic. She is going to have to run in this race off a little bit of a layoff, however. I expect Joe Talamo to take her back and try to make one run from off of the pace. She ran some decent numbers as a 2-year-old, and if she could take the necessary step forward, she's not out of this. I thought her race in the Untappable and even the race in the Bourbonnette Oaks, while not on her best surface, were somewhat interesting. Runaway Wife is the 7, and this is a horse that's just gotten better since being stretched out in distance. Another Running Fool by Gun Runner has just been a sensational young stallion. Nice maiden win by Open Lengths 2 starts back. Second last time out in a first-level allowance at Churchill Downs. Beaten as the favorite that day, but I think she gained good experience. And she's another tactically inclined filly that could probably sit in the second flight and play it by ear under Corey Lannery. 4-1 is a little bit light for me, especially into the teeth of a horse like Interstate Daydream. I'll need her to drift a little bit. 63 Caliber completes the field, and she's 2 for 2, going 2 turns at Horseshoe Indianapolis, including this victory last time out in a first-level race. She's another daughter of Gun Runner. She's sold for $250,000. She is trained by an extremely good horseman in Tom Amos, and she just seems to be getting better. She's going to have to continue to get better because her buyer speed figures, again, the last two, 68, 66, are light, but she has a little bit of a home court edge with 2 consecutive victories at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Before we get to my top pick, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRF TV offerings. Hate to chalk out, I just think this is a great spot for Interstate Daydream off the win in the Black-Eyed Susan. I think she's going to get forwardly placed. You could argue this is a good amount of class relief for her for very, very strong connections. She just looks like the horse to beat. Perhaps not as much of a slam dunk as most people think. I think the 6, North County, is going to take a step forward off a little bit of a layoff, returning to dirt and getting Lasix for a good trainer in Brendan Walsh. 5, 6, 7, 3 for me in the Indiana Oaks at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Good luck.